On November 27th, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family, as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.
Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Julius Freeman, and with me is, as always, is the one and only
Kyle.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a while.
Yeah.
A lot has been going on behind the scenes. Life gets busy, and so it happens. But we're happy to be back. It's the last show of the year, considering the fact that this will be the last show that we're going to have for 2025 as we enter 2026, because December is fully booked up, man. Like, that's the way it goes in the holidays.
Every single year, it's always all the same. Like, as soon as almost starts in like September almost, because you have all the birthdays, and then you got Halloween, and then you got Thanksgiving. As soon as you hit Thanksgiving, it's every single week. It's a party or get together. Gotta do this. Gotta go get some presents. Everything happens.
Everything. That's the way it goes.
But we're here. We want to say, we're not gone. We're not dead. We're still here.
we still have 2026 is going to be an interesting year, considering the fact that Warner Media is going to be sold off to whoever is going to, I guess, win the bidding war. That's going to occur. I don't know when, but that'll be something we'll talk about, in the coming hour. But for now, Kyle, dude, it's been a while. What have you picked up? Have you picked up anything interesting for the past, few weeks?
I know, that's the thing. It's been a while. So
seriously,
a few things, in the time that we've been on hiatus. Let's see. The first thing was I got some cool. This one I got it for $1, but it was cool because it was just old and I kind of wanted it. It's Superboy number 261 from 1959. It's a cover
nice.
Copy, but it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a product of its time, and I kind of want to just read it just to see what and look at the cool advertisements and stuff from
that's right.
Like basically 1960s, and it's just fun looking at all. Like, here's, I guess, a short story with Speedy and Green Arrow.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Is Green Arrow shooting a rifle?
Green Arrow shooting a rifle.
Whoa, dude! Talk about different times back then. Wow, I never seen Green Arrow shoot any kind of gun ever.
Yeah, considering he's Green Arrow.
Yeah, whoa, dude, trip on that. Wow.
Yeah, he's like through the whole story he's using it.
Wow. What I wonder. You got to read and let me know if he like lost his bow and arrow or something.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah. What's up, Tesra? Tesra says, "F yeah, are you reading is comics?" Yeah, Kyle reads comics all the time. We here at Elusive Comic, Tesra, we read comic books. We don't just crap on them. We read them and then we crap on them if they deserve to be crapped on.
If they do, yes, exactly. So another fun one that was just kind of just for fun I got for $1 was a official movie poster book for 007 Moonraker.
Wow,
From
dude. Wow. Wait, what made you want to get that?
I love James Bond,
Oh,
and you
okay.
never see anything with James Bond, and so I saw it. And I'm like, I have to get it. It's cool. Moonraker is such a stupid movie anyway, but it's fun.
Nice.
So getting the movie poster for it is pretty fun.
That is cool.
So,
That is cool.
yeah. Then some other cool stuff I got. This one I got, which is the Amazing Spider-Man number 315, the first appearance of Venom on the cover.
Oh, nice,
and
dude.
newsstand.
Nice. Yeah. Heck yeah.
So this one I know is a very famous cover because a little smiley friend right there.
Nice.
That means that its value goes up. So
Absolutely.
and then the last
Absolutely.
thing I got, which was really cool, is a Treasury edition. It's the first edition of Wiz Comics, oversized.
Oh, that's cool.
When it was reprinted under the DC banner.
Yeah. For a quick backstory to those watching, Kyle and I were at our local comic shop, and they had two. They had not of the first edition. They had this version, and they had, I guess, a regular reprint that just oversized of the original comic. And I had both of them in my hand, and I was like, "Which one do you think I should get?" And Kyle was like, "I don't care which one you get. Whatever you don't pick, I'm gonna get."
Yeah,
So-
I know. I'm gonna get the other one.
Yeah, so-
Like you said, the other one was when it was the first reprint of it.
yes,
And this one was
yeah,
the
so
first reprint under DC.
Yeah, I got that one, and it was cool. I like those oversized books. It's always cool to know that comic book publishers would always try to do these things, these little gimmicks that worked out. Now it's kind of I guess passe in a bit in a lot of ways, but back then that was kind of a special thing. So it's cool that they're still available for us to get, and they're pretty cheap too. I mean, not not obviously not the cover price, but
yeah,
I would say, yeah, I know back then for $1, but now it's a little higher than that. But you know what? It's still accessible, so that was nice. You get to own a piece of history, publishing history.
But yeah, those are some of the standout things that I got in my acquisitions. Did you pick up anything?
I did actually. Kyle and I went to a comic book pop-up last weekend, and it's a great little pop-up because it's just a bunch of vendors who are just selling either their collection, or they have their key issues, and they go off and let people get a chance to buy some good books. And there's one table in particular that was all dollar books, all of them. Didn't matter what they were. Could have been key issues. Didn't matter. $1, which was obviously whoa. Like, hey, that's amazing, right? And poor Kyle.
I got a story for that.
I'll let Kyle say it, but what I got there earlier than Kyle, and I looked for this guy's stand because I remember him from last year. So when I found his stand, I was like, great, I'm gonna look through this guy's bins, and I found quite a few myself. And the first thing I found was Judge Dredd. He is the law, and this is a famous first issue of I think it was published by First Comics, Eagle Comics, and it's a drawn by Brian Bolland. Of the Joker story that he did with Alan Moore, the Killing Joke fame.
Oh yeah, that's a real nice pickup.
Yeah, real. I saw it and I was like, whoa, dude, I can't believe I found this. All right. So I took it, and then I found the Marvel Comics reprint of Captain Britain, which was written by Alan Moore and drawn by Alan Davis.
Oh, really?
Dude. And look at this. There's Fury right there.
Oh, did you get the whole set?
No, it was missing issue 1, but I did get the rest of them. And it was the last $6 I had for my budget.
Of
I had like,
that's of course how it happens.
yeah, dude, I have $40, right? I gave myself $40 budget because my target was that $1, table, right?
Yeah.
So I had $6 left, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just walk around. If I find the book for $6, I'll get the book, right? And then literally like a minute later, I walk by another table and I see these on top, and I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize that art. I recognize this art. And I picked up the pile, and I was like, 1, 2, well, sorry, 2,
You're like, whoa,
3. I was like, 4, no way, 5, and I was like, no, 6. And I was like, okay, it's a sign. It's a sign.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be. And so I got these, which were great. One of my favorite Alan Moore stories. Definitely underrated. No one really talks about great Captain Britain as much, but I think this is one of Alan Moore's, and not only Alan Moore's, but Alan Davis's best work of their career.
Yeah.
And then I found this cool Night Thrasher first issue.
Okay.
This book wasn't really like a big deal. It's just, I just love the costume and I love the cover.
Yeah. I've never heard of this character before.
Yeah, they try to bring him back, but not too low fanfare. But this was a cool. I just like the cover. I've always liked the cover. So when I saw it, I was like, great. I picked it up. And then lastly, I found a Jack Kirby Captain Victory book.
Oh wow. Yeah,
that
you can
was
definitely tell it's Kirby.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. At this point, it was published by I guess PC Comics. This is issue number 9. And yeah, total Jack Kirby. Of course, I can't. Whenever I see a Jack Kirby book, I have to pick it up because he is the grandmaster of comic book storytelling. And you'd be a fool if you don't at least study Kirby, even as a writer. Like I don't draw. I draw for fun, but I can't. I don't draw professionally. So as a comic book writer, I always try to tell other writers who I speak to online or in person, whatever. And I always say, I know writing is like our center, right? It's our foundation.
Yeah.
But you got to at the very least, study the artist, because then that way you'll get a good idea of how to write visually when you write scripts for artists. And once you figure that out, then it becomes easier to collaborate with other artists as opposed to trying to force your will onto an artist when you work on a project.
You do what I say.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the misconception with a lot of writers. Not everyone. Don't come at me, bro. Okay. So I know not everyone's like that, but there are a lot of writers out there who do try to do that. Try to dictate what to have the artist draw. And I was guilty of it too at the beginning, but I've learned over the years after I, got exposed to Jim Shooter's blog and read just rich, just full of knowledge, this guy. And it was a great, I guess, indirect school of hard knocks. And, he really hammered home for me that when you're a writer, you have to write as if you are going to draw it.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, then it's going to be a lot easier for the artist to, I totally get what this guy wants. And he's going to give you almost exactly what you want. So,
nice.
So that's what I got from the, I got a whole bunch. I mean, like I said, I had $40, so it's just 40 books here laying around. But those were my highlight pickups.
I know, and I would have gotten a bunch more if it wasn't for this one guy, because what happened was, as they're selling off books, they have like a warehouse, nearby, so they're constantly bringing more books over. So I asked him, when you're going to be bringing out some more books. He says, okay, in the next like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'll just kind of hang around until that happens. And so they see him wheeling in new boxes and they start setting them on the table, and everybody's like vultures already sitting there. And so then, they put all the boxes down and I just go to one and I'm like, all right, well, let me just see what my box is. And I'm going through my books, and my box is nothing but old Eclipse books. Now, Eclipse is good, but really the only thing that I know of that was done by Eclipse was Miracle Man.
Right.
I love Miracle Man, but I already have all of Miracle Man issues, and there was some in there. But then I look over to the box to my left. Literally, the next box over was like every single book that I ever wanted and been meaning to come across was in that box. And the guy next to me just like pulling them out one after the other.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Oh man. Like, one right after the other, like all the ones I've been looking for. All the amalgamation books, the crossovers between Avengers and X-Men, or the Avengers and JLA, Teen Titans and X-Men, Archie versus Punisher, both of them, the Archie versus Punisher and the Punisher versus Archie. They had a bunch of other Batman ones that I was looking for. That it was just like one right after the other, pulling them out. I'm just like, oh man, why couldn't I just gone to that box?
Yeah, it was. I was standing behind Kyle when that was happening, and I remember I felt the pain for him as well. I was like, oh, dude, like if only. And at that point, it dawned, it hit me. I was like, I should have stood right there next to him, so that way, if I found them, I would have just handed them to him. Like, oh, look here, get this one,
here.
Yeah, and
I blame you for everything.
Because at that point I was already done. I wasn't going to shop anymore, so there was no reason for me to even bother looking.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I should have helped my friend and get him all these great books. Again, guys, these were $1 books, so these books that this guy was pulling out, easily he could resell them for $20-$30 each.
Yeah,
that's how good of a collection this particular vendor had at this show. I guess he just buys them in bulk and just puts them out there and goes, I don't care what you guys find, they're $1. Take it from me. And so I'm sure he pulls out the higher ones, right? Because I know he did mention to me
super realer ones.
Yeah. So he did mention to me before I left that they were going to have an auction for the Fantastic Four, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee issues 1 through 20 auction that week. So I was like, okay, so this guy pulls out the big guns and then he keeps those, and then the rest he just like, I don't care about the rest. Just give me like he probably collects like the the Steve Ditko Spider-Man issues. He probably pulls out the John Romita Senior books and that kind of stuff. And then the rest he just kind of like, I'll let everyone else find the treasures, and I'll keep the big ones.
So anyway, that was unfortunate. Just watching him pull out all the books, I'm like, man, that would have been such.
Yeah, and it was like a stack. Like, guys, no kidding. The guy had a stack this big of just key issues. Okay, not
that
books.
One box, and that was the thing. Like, I went through all the other boxes, and that was nothing like it. It was just that one box.
Just that one box,
it was right there.
And inside Kyle's inner voice sounded a little bit like this.
I know.
Again, literally every time he pulled something out, it was always Archie and Punisher.
I know. At a certain point, I felt so defeated. I'm like, I didn't want to look in my box anymore. I'm not gonna find anything. Like, the only thing that I was thinking of getting was the Miracle Man, I think number 14, which is the only one that actually matters.
Right.
It's the one where Kid Miracle Man goes on his rampage, but like that one wasn't even in there. So it was like a big waste of time. And it was, just I at a certain point I was just like looking at him pull out all the stuff, and I'm like, all right. I almost contemplated in my mind like going up to him and say, can I just buy the books off of you? I know you bought them for $1. Can I buy them for like $3, $5 off of you or something like that? Just so, because I've been wanting these books.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't happen. So.
No, it didn't happen. It probably been best in it because he would have just upsold you. That would have been what happened. So, hey, it is what it is. That's the whole point of hunting, right? You if you get there first, you get them. But if you're not there on time, then all right, well then I guess that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I still blame you.
I blame myself, man, because there was an opening there, and I should have just went in. I should have been like, I'll take the spot, I'll look just for fun. And then I'm sure if I would have found those books, he would have been like, I need those books. And all right, here you go. Yep.
I know. I would have said that. I need that. Yeah, let's switch boxes. How about that?
There you go. Right? There you go. I would have switched with you, and then that would have been fine. But yeah, that was the our weekend or our Saturday, last Saturday, which was a lot of fun. It's a great show. I always look forward to it. I wish they had more, but I get it. It's a it's a small little show, so only one show a year is all they could do. And so I look forward to next year to maybe hopefully find some more treasure books.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, they got shows all the time. I think all the conventions and stuff are all done for the year. So,
yeah.
it's we'll just get ready for next year.
Yeah, speaking of the end of the year, this like I said, this is going to be the last show of the year because we're not going to have a live show for the rest of this month and December. Because considering that there's a lot of things that family things, parties, and get-togethers. That's what the holidays are. Everything slows down at this point. But I wanted to ask you, Kyle, before we get into the Warner Media bidding thing, 2025. I mean, what kind of year did comics have? Because I peek in my head in terms of what the mainstream's doing, in terms of what release dates. We had the Marvel DC crossover released this year. Absolute Batman ended up being a sleeper hit. It became a bigger hit that people didn't really expect. And then you have all sorts of things that happen in 2025. What are the things that stand out to you in terms of news or in terms of books that you picked up for 2025?
Well, let's see.
I'm sorry, and to add to that, what do you think 2026 will look like for comics?
Okay. Well, let's see. Starting off, I'm just looking at it from my personal perspective, and my personal like collecting and stuff like that. I'm looking at it because I have my app of how I catalog and calculate all the books that I have. According to this, I need to update some of this, but I have currently in my collection 3,126 comics. And
rookie numbers, Kyle. Rookie numbers.
I have read 1,025. So
wow.
That could
be. There's applause.
And it also takes into account how graphic novels and collected editions are considered one read. So they could, it's like
right.
Technically, but it was like one read. But in terms of like the top that I collect, out of all that for DC, 51% of it is DC with 1,650. That was a horrible way to say that. 1,615 for Marvel. 26% with 836. Image, 7.7%, which is 242. And then the rest is just split up between Dark Horse, IDW, Titan, all that stuff. But in terms of like my overall view of this last year of comic books, I definitely got more into it, but I also, in a way, slowed down. So it was interesting because I was really focused at the beginning. I've been collecting comics now for a couple years. I want to say maybe now this is coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, so I think it's 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first year and a half, I was just getting everything and anything I can get. And so my collection really boomed from that. Then after that, I went into collecting, obviously the newer stuff that's coming out and figuring out what I want to collect, which was Green Lantern. So collecting Green Lantern is like the main focus of my collection. And that's what really happened this year was I collected a lot of the other issues and series and stuff that I kind of were interested in, and basically got to the point of like, well, now I kind of have every other little thing that I wanted. Now I'm just going to focus on Green Lantern. But then I hit the point where I hit most of all the Green Lantern books I want. I'm slowly at like, my goal is to collect all Green Lanterns, all the way from the original, from the 1940s original Alan Scott Green Lantern to modern Green Lantern. So it's a lot. Yeah. I have most of all the 90s Kyle Rayner. I have pretty much all of them. I've got all of the Jeff Johns run, 2000s run. And so I'm slowly making my way backwards through the different time periods, like the Neil Adams run and all that stuff.
And Dave Gibbons, don't forget Dave Gibbons. He had a run
Dave
with Green
Gibbons,
Lantern.
and Dave Gibbons and them. So, slowly been collecting, but that's not like I have to collect them all at once type of thing. And it's something that's like I'll just get them every time I see them. But in terms of like other books, like I was also very heavy into grading comic books. I was, going through and getting all my signatures and all that stuff, and I still am. But I also slowed down a bit on that too, because I think I finally woke up into the fact of like I kind of like actually reading the books and having them
Yeah,
so that I can see them and flip through
Mhm.
them. And that's kind of like the reason why I picked up, like the Superman. Like it's coverless, it's obviously not going to be graded, but I wanted it because I just like the fact that it's older, and I want to actually feel the pages and like actually see, the artwork in it. And that's something that you are not going to see in a graded case, which
Right.
is,
Yeah.
So I kind of tuned a little bit more towards. I'm still I'm still grading stuff. I mainly just grade, signed things that way, and as long as I also have a duplicate that I can also open up. But yeah, it's been interesting. In terms of new books, I have to say that in terms of the new books that I've read, there's only actually, like, to be honest, only been like a handful that like are like super good that I always have to get every single time. I know in a previous episode we did a tier list of all of some of the books that
Right.
I have been picking up, and
Go check that out.
Yeah, definitely check that out. It's been about the same. Um, there really hasn't been anything new that since then. The only thing I can think of is Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman is probably the one book, and Conan the Barbarian. Those two are the ones that like I always have to read every single time, like no matter what. Green Lantern as well. Obviously, the new Green Lantern is also doing really well. Um, but it's actually funny, and it's what I like the most about Absolute Batman is it's almost getting to that point where just random people will also kind of know Absolute Batman. It's not got there yet, but it's getting to the point where I'm seeing a lot more just other people who don't necessarily like comic books kind of know Absolute Batman. And I think if they keep on this trajectory, the Absolute Batman will be very popular in years. Like to the extent where like Joe Schmo down the street knows Absolute Batman,
Right. Yeah.
That's something that I think will happen. It kind of depends on whether or not DC actually keeps Scott Snyder and Nick.
I'm sure they will. I mean, he's I think he's proven already that he is a hit maker for them. I mean, you mentioned about new readers. At our local comic shop, I saw a young guy who he must have been no older than maybe 17, 18. At least that's
Yeah.
what he looked like to me. Walked up to our friend Gilbert, who was at the register, and asked him, "Do you have any Absolute Batman?" And of course, he's like, "Yep, they're right in the corner." He went right for it, and there he stood looking at it, and then he started looking at the other books. So, yeah, I think the word of mouth has gone out to maybe new readers or maybe casual readers who kind of like were kind of into it but not really into it. And then when they heard about this version of Batman, it was like, oh, interesting. Working class Batman. All right, I'm gonna check this one out.
I think if DC is smart,
which they're not.
Which they're not, but I think if they were smart, they would at least maybe try to make an animated show, maybe like just like six issues.
I think they're going to do that. But I think what's happening right now is that everything's so up in the air because the Warner Media sale that's happening.
Yeah.
So they're holding off. I'm talking about the production side of things outside of comics.
Yeah.
They're holding off on green lighting anything because obviously they don't know where they're going to go. Are they going to end up at Netflix? Or going to end up here? They have no idea. So I think right now they're just waiting. And once it happens, then we're going to get a bunch of announcements down the line about what they're going to produce going forward.
Yeah. But until that happens, though, it's still going to be just a comic book. And then comic books, to be fair, are not as popular as they once were in like the 90s and stuff like that, where people really knew comic books. Nowadays, I feel like, if you tell somebody that you like comic books, I guess it's a little bit more accepted in the fact that, there's comic book movies. So it's kind of just like, it'd be the same thing as if you went to a movie that was based off a novel and then somebody says, oh, I just read the novels. It's like, okay.
Right.
So it's like, it's basically the same type of attitude and, towards it. But I think that it's also partially because comic books, and I have to be honest here, have dipped in quality, in terms of what was. And that's the thing. It's like I read through all these old, issues and stuff like that, and I really enjoy what I read. And I pick up a new book on, Wednesday, and I give it a shot, and it doesn't do anything. It's just, it seems very plain. It seems like it's a Netflix or studio pitch for a movie or a TV show. It feels like it, and that's another thing too, where there's no action, or that there's, this story that should be like the whole story that takes up like the whole, like whatever, 12-issue run could have been condensed down into a 2-issue mini stories. Absolutely. On. And it loses me, and especially for the fact that it's $5 a pop now. We just remarked on how you can go to these shows and you can get these key issues and really good issues for $1. Yeah. So why would I ever want to go to the new comic store? Now, like I said, there are good stuff. There is some really fun stuff to read. Spider-Man Wolverine, like I mentioned, like Justin said in the comments, is amazing. It's really fun. It's just one of those things where there's so much that is being produced that it's a little hard to find the good stuff, the diamonds in the rough type of thing. And on top of the fact, as we mentioned in a previous episode, the rise of AI and, ChatGPT and all that stuff. DC made the announcement that they're never going to use anything AI generated. But, Jim Lee is going to be the president, for however long he is. But then maybe the person after him, is a different story, know?
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I think in terms of what may come in the future, I think AI is going to be definitely something that we're going to have to really watch how that grows into different mediums. Yeah. But I did a lot of talking just now. What about you, Julius?
No, that's great because that's fine that you did all the talking because that's insightful. We need to have these conversations in order for the industry to change and pivot and do what it needs to do in order to stay alive. Because you're right, there's a lot more competition now in terms of trying to get people's attention. And so my thing is more on I look at things differently from you. I mean, obviously I'm a consumer as well, but I'm more of a creator now than I was when I was your age. Now I look at the business side of things. I look at the landscape. What does the landscape tell me when I step back and I look at the whole picture, right? And the purchasing of the bidding of the Warner Media, it leads. What's going to happen in DC Comics? Are they going to keep? Is Paramount or Viacom, whatever they're called nowadays, will they want to keep DC Comics or will they want to get rid of it? Or same thing with Netflix, same thing, whoever buys it, whoever ends up buying it. And one thing is for sure, content is king today. There's just so much of it out there. It's going to have to be step up time for people like me, indie creators. The thing about like what you mentioned earlier about the quality of comic books, I want the people listening to understand that what Kyle is talking about is not quality of the paper, not quality of the book itself. the quality of the story. And he's right. When you read an old comic book that used to cost $1.25 or $1 back in the late 80s, early 90s, and you get a full compact story with sequential, like an actual sequential story where it's not just 4 or 5 panels of just the brick panels. It's open panels and crazy cool looking panels that made it unique, a unique story, a unique medium to tell a story. And I think that's what's lost today for the most part. There's a few artists here and there, like Daniel Warren Johnson's one that comes to mind, that really does hammer home that this is a comic book medium, and I'm going to remind you guys that this is a comic book medium, and I'm going to remind you why it's so special to get a comic book to begin with.
Yeah,
with his work in Transformers and that wrestling one he did, Do a Power Bomb, which is another prime example of that. So what I think is going to happen, not what I think is going to happen, but the question that I ask myself is, how can I, as a creator, get your attention?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about the Warner Media sale that's going to happen is that now they're going to get a whole influx of money coming in, because they got to get a return on their investment, right? So they got to pump money in. They're going to buy it, and they're going to have to pump more money in to make the movies and the TV shows and maybe even the comics, to get people to, hey, come over here, because we're going to provide you some top quality content or stories, right? So the competition is going to be a lot more fierce for people like me, because I'm only one person. My resources are extremely limited compared to the conglomerates that control these IPs. Now, I know, like, for instance,
not to be insincere, but you're not as big as Batman.
No, of course. But see, the key is trying to get to the level of, like, say, for instance, the prime example that I come up with is Laird and Eastman, when they created Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the late 80s, right? That was the prime example of two people getting together going, we're not writing Batman, we're not writing Superman. They created something totally original that was so potent, it was so good when they released their black and white, pretty much ash can comic.
Almost.
It was so compact with a great story that it blew up, because it met everything that comic book readers love in their comics, which is escapism and a crazy concept.
Yeah.
The
title alone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason, one of the things that indie comic book creators like myself are going to have to start doing, or going to have to start rethinking in 2026, is we're going to have to smartly utilize crowdfunding. It's been taken for granted for so long that we lost the plot after a while. We just thought, well, if I make a comic book, put in the world, people are gonna finance it. And the reality is, no. You gotta work on your pitch, you gotta work on your marketing, promotion, all that stuff. So I see a more of a lot fierce competition, and I think it's going to be a lot more indie creators who are going to quit in 2026 because of it. Because say what you will about Into the Badlands, right? That Predator movie that people, obviously the old school film buffs like myself, look at them and be like, why are they humanizing Predator? But we forget that Disney they don't want us watching their movies anymore.
Yeah.
They want the young generation to watch the movies now. So that movie wasn't targeted to me. It was targeted to you, to your demographic, your age group demographic. Well, and of course you didn't like it, but for you, one of you, there could be two more who actually did like it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're banking on in the future. And they could afford to lose money, because people forget that they have insurances, right? They have insurance policies where if it does fail, they could just write it off and it's fine. That's why they keep making crap, because there's no real threat anymore of, like, if we bomb, it's over because of the insurance they have in place. So
you just get bought out.
They get bought out, or you stop making it and you just focus on whatever sells.
Yeah. And
so it's kind of, I don't want to sound like I'm like a pessimistic, but at the same time, it's a grand opportunity for us, for indie creators, to tap into our creative spirit and actually work on something really, really tight and make it so undeniably good that people just start talking about your book because it's so good, and that's the key that a lot of indie creators are going to have to start doing going forward, because 2026 is going to get a lot tougher for indie creators, specifically for indie creators. It's going to be great for the consumers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because consumers are going to get all sorts of cool stuff coming out from Disney, from whoever acquires Warner Media. They're going to now, get that together, and now you have Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Disney, and whoever acquires Warner Media, and it's going to be five big companies that are just going to produce content for everyone, and they have the resources to just continue on pushing stuff out. And one will eventually hit, and then they keep going. But for the indie creators, we're gonna have to work a lot harder for it. And that's how I see 2026. I see it being we have to stop thinking in terms of I want to get a monthly book out, and start thinking what the manga people do. I'm not saying create manga. I'm saying write a comic book story that's in the same approach like manga. So you have to do book 1, not issue 1. Book 1 meaning, yeah, guys, unfortunately, it's going to suck, but black and white paper, not the magazine paper, fancy kind, like actual newsprint paper.
Yeah.
And
newsprint,
book, Yeah. And book 1, 50, 60 pages, and hope for the best. That's what's going to have to happen for people like me. I mean, look at the image behind us in the background. That's a black and white comic book project, because that's what I could afford right now. And I'm going to sell black and white comics going forward, because it's the cheaper route for me. And it's the most opportunity I can have to gain a readership faster. And then down the line, maybe colorize the images that I have back there. But I could talk more about that later. But that's kind of my viewpoint of what's 2026 holds for not just comics, but all media, is that you're going to have the conglomerates who are going to just pump stuff out, and you're going to have indie creators who are going to have to rely on their wits to sell their books, because unfortunately that's the reality. I have to continue doing the YouTube thing to sell my books. There's a QR code up there in the corner, stuff like that. I have to start doing that more and more, because it's going to have to take either you have to be extremely charismatic to sell your book, or your book has to be so undeniably good that people are going to gravitate to it, and then you don't
even have to market it, that it will just sell.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to market in the beginning.
Yeah.
Unhinged, Jason, welcome back. You're gonna have to obviously still market and promote it, but you're good. That first impression, man, that first book has to blow you away. Like, it has to. If you don't, then it's gonna be tough for you.
That's how I am with the modern books right now. I used to, and you can attest to this, when we early on in the year and last year, I would buy new books off the shelf, and I would read them, and then I would, okay, I'll give another chance. Nothing's really happened. Well, let me get a few issues in. Maybe it'll turn around. And then get a few issues in. Nah, it's still not. Well, let me give you a few issues more and see. We'll turn around this time. And then get a few more issues in, and then like 12 issues in. I'm like, so when are we actually gonna start the story? Now I've gotten a lot different on that. Where if you don't hook me within the first or second issue, that's it. I'm done. I'm not gonna be hanging around anymore until you finally find out what story you want to do. So
yeah, exactly. And again, the mainstream can afford that, right? Because they have the machine behind them. They could promote, they can market your book. They put you in podcasts. But people like me, I'm screwed. If you come to me and say, you know what, I've read your book, man. I've read 3 books now and nothing's happening. It's over for me.
Yeah.
you're not gonna buy any more of my books, So we have to step up, when it comes to telling compelling stories. I'd say if it doesn't pick up by 2 or 3 issues, it's a lost cause. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I learned from Jim Shooter's blog, is that he said you have to get them not only in the first issue, but after that, every single issue.
Yeah.
No excuse. You have to hook them every single issue, or else why are you here? Why are you
Right.
doing this? Because you're wasting our time, and not only that, you're wasting the readers' money and time by wasting their money and their time for reading your crappy book that doesn't go anywhere after 3 or 4 issues. And he's 100% on that. But like I said earlier, we don't have the resources to do the monthly thing, so we have to think of quarterly releases.
Well, and the fact too that also what happened this year is that you had the whole diamond distribution.
Oh, huge! That's right. Yeah.
So that caused a huge ripple through everything because there was a lot of books, even some like as we did in the show. There was like one particular book. It was called Rome Eternal.
Yeah.
As an indie creator, he finally got an in. And he was doing good. We enjoyed his issue. We were looking for the next one. And then Diamond happened. Everything got all lost. And it just fell off the face of the earth. And I think they're just in limbo / can't even do it anymore. And it was sad because we enjoying the series. So, and that's
it was
to a lot of other creators.
Yeah, and it was a great premise, a great concept. It was fresh. It was unique. It wasn't superhero. I mean, that's not knocking superhero, but sometimes I do want to read something that's kind of original, something that's kind of like, this is different. A story, a world where Rome never fell. Interesting,
Yeah, and it continued on to the norm, into the modern times. So.
Yeah, and that was a great premise. And unfortunately, that's the diamond thing really did hurt the indie publishing world for sure, 100%. And now it's fractured. And there's no centralized system anymore. So. It's reverted back to local. So that's what I'm doing going forward myself, is I'm focusing more on my local shops here in my area and starting to build up a grassroots movement here with the limited amount of resources that I do have. I think the other thing about crowdfunding as well, going back to crowdfunding, is that people like me who don't have the vast numbers of followers on social media, I have to work a little harder to get that backing, that financial backing from backers, because, time is everything in this industry, right? If you wait too long, people are going to forget about you, move on.
Oh yeah. That's
the reality of it, right? If it's really good and worth it, like we did with Rome Eternal, we waited, man. We waited, right? We're like, I'm waiting. And finally it was like, I'm done. I forgot. It's over. And that's unfortunate, because Homero did he had a great story here, man. And it's unfortunate he couldn't finish it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And, there's, like I said, there's a lot of stories out there that they are out there. They have good stories. There's lots of good writers and artists. It's just that it feels so over, bloated with other stuff and other creators and stuff like that it's so hard, I want to say, for a new reader to come in and actually know what to do. As when I first came in,
right?
It was difficult to start reading comics and knowing how everything worked and stuff. And luckily I had a few good guys helping me out and telling me what to do, and then meeting you and stuff like that. And then you're like, okay, let me tell you about the real comic book.
Yeah, no, dude, for sure. And that's the thing that a lot of people in my generation have to start doing, is that I can't speak on it. You can, because you read his books, but for instance, Tom Taylor, right? Now, Tom Taylor is considered to be a heavyweight in the industry today, but you have told me that you've read some of his stuff and you're like, I don't understand why this guy is a big deal, because his stories are not good. And the major issue there that I noticed when you told me that is that the reader's palette, your generation, they don't have the access to the old books to compare and contrast what is actually high quality to low quality. And I saw a TikTok video the other day from an actual new comic reader. I think he was younger than you.
Oh, really?
Said that he picked up the Hush 2, right?
Oh yeah, with Jeff Loeb.
And with Jeff Loeb, and it was like, it was like finally, I think the youth are starting to finally understand, because this guy was like, you know what, man, I love Jim Lee's art, but I don't understand why Jeff Loeb is the big name that he is, because this is not good. Like this is terrible. This is a terrible story, you know? And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so this guy probably starting to get it, you know? And that's the thing,
Well,
that's the problem that I see with the youth, is that they have their palette is one-sided to they don't explore outside of that, because they like what they like, and which is fine, you know, nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. But you know, it's always good to expand your palette in terms of, like, if you just read superhero comics, hey, you know what? Maybe at some point try a sci-fi comic book,
Yeah.
you know, or try a fantasy one, or a true crime one, or a noir book. Like check those out to see, hey, maybe you might find something that you'd be like, hey, this is really freaking good.
I mean, that's how I am with Conan the Barbarian. I mean,
There you
it's
go.
one of the best stories that I've been reading him, and then also Flash Gordon. Also, it helps that the writers, the writer for Flash Gordon is also the writer for Aquaman, which has also been really good, and you know, Green Lantern as well. But then for Conan, I think they've been going on for 2 years now, I believe. And it's been the same writer throughout the whole thing, and he is like a huge Conan the Barbarian nerd. I mean, like he knows everything. He was like studied Robert E. Howard stories, loves this, you know, the lore behind it. And you need guys like that,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
stories that they generate from their passion on the character is hundreds of times better than any other big name that is not passionate about the project that they're writing on. And you
Absolutely.
can definitely see it in their work. I mean, you look at like Jonathan Hickman, he loves the slow burn sci-fi stuff. So when they put him on Aliens versus Avengers, he felt right at
Perfect.
home.
Yeah.
But you put him on the new Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, he starts off good, but it just is endless talking and zero action that is just so boring to read.
Yeah.
And
Right. 100%. 100%.
so, you know, it's one of those things where, like, just because you're a big name doesn't necessarily mean that you have big bucks associated with it.
Yeah.
And that also should give you, as indie creators and stuff like that, gumption and, like drive to say, well, okay, well, I'm passionate about my character that I created, or I'm passionate about this, so I am going to put everything that I have into this character that I've written to make it as best as I can be, as it can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. And not only for the character, but also your work. Put
Hmm.
some pride in your work. You know, you like, say for instance, you're not a Conan fan, you get the job, right? Because they just,
Yeah.
like Jonathan Hickman, whatever you touch turns to gold. So they hired you to hey, can you bring some of that for Conan, right? I'm not really a big Conan fan, right? Your job as a writer is to go, well, I'm not a big Conan fan, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to research. I'm going to find out which are the books that all the fans like, and I'm going to read them. I'm going to watch the movie, right? Watch the movies. I'm going to find out who Robert E. Howard was, and really immerse myself, so that way I can, maybe not enjoy the stories fully, but at least you could, at the very least, understand
Right.
the character, right? So that way when you sit down and start writing, you'd be like, okay, I got to respect the fan base, I got to respect the lore, and I'm going to do a job because I'm a good writer, and that's what a good writer is supposed to do, their job.
Yeah.
To tell a story. And that's the key that's missing in a lot of writers today, is they don't have the passion to write good stories. They only have the passion to write what they think is a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, then they bash you for it. Yeah. Instead of saying, well, I tried, I wanted to go a different direction, guys, but I guess it didn't work. So apologies if I insulted the fan base. Give me a second chance and I'll make it up to you. Now it's like, you don't like it? Well, then screw you.
Yeah.
Block, block.
Block. It's your fault. You don't
It's
understand.
your fault. Yeah, you just didn't get it. And that turned a lot of people away too. And they wonder why the industry is hurting so bad. That was
Yeah.
another factor too in the past few years, is that the publishing houses allowed their creators to bash a lot of the readers online, and they got they never got reprimanded, they never got in trouble, they never got, they didn't lose their book. I mean, there was a few cases where that happened, but
Yeah. But that seemed like it happened recently though. Like they finally, like they're starting to get around.
Yeah, but I think it's a little too late at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of readers kind of just gave it up, and they're not going to look back. They're not going to turn back anymore. And they tried with the crossover, but that first crossover was a dud, dude. It was a total dud.
Yeah,
like, what
Marvel and
that
DC.
that was essentially an anthology, and it's like, you guys sold us an anthology. You guys couldn't give us an actual story between these characters, like an actual good story, like George Perez and Kurt Busiek did when they got JLA versus Avengers. They actually sat down and wrote a story for the fans, and you guys couldn't do that for this one. It blew my mind. I just don't understand.
Even if you're not going to do that, like, it's one of those things where we talked about it, recently too, where like the DC and Marvel crossover should have been a big deal that really should have gone into like almost like news headlines type of thing, because I think it said it was like 20 years since the last time they did a crossover.
It's an event. It's like an eclipse.
Yeah.
It's an event,
It should have been the best thing. And the thing is, like, right now, DC kind of took a page out of their like actually like having fun book, and decided to like make a crossover event in their own universe of just the superheroes in their own universe just having a giant arena battle, and they're just fighting out and see who wins. And it's like, that's great. I love that type of thing because it's fun, and it's just, it doesn't have to be part of a big story. It doesn't have to be all this. It's just wanting, the age-old questions of like, who will win versus who will win. I think they should have just done that for the Marvel DC crossover.
Yeah.
Finally,
give that would have been great.
What everybody's been wanting. What is it like when Hulk fights Superman? What is it like when Spider-Man fights Batman? What is it like when, and have a whole arena tournament style thing? And that should have been the biggest event of the stories, because
that would have been great.
All like, oh, this next issue that's coming out is going to be Fantastic Four versus Teen Titans. I have to go and get that.
Right.
It's, one of those things. But what the story that they were writing was just, like you said, an anthology, was just short stories that were average at best. And, I talked to my local comic shop owner, and they said that the drop off between the DC or the Marvel published one and the DC published crossover was like 90%. Like, nobody cared.
Oh,
they had so many copies.
Oh no! Oh man,
it was embarrassing.
That's unfortunate.
Man. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Because I was the impression that like they were going to sell out like they did the first time. And then they said, they just ordered so much, and I think everybody else ordered so much, and then everybody also read the first issue and realized it wasn't that good, so they just had a ton of copies around.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. Well, hopefully other shops throughout the country did better, but I'm sure the publishing houses are going to say it sold out, because at the level of the stores, yes, it did. But they forget that the readers have to give the feedback. And so, you're right, Jason. This recent crossover was a missed opportunity. And
and then they're trying again with Superman versus Superman Spider-Man.
They're going to do that one, and they're going to reprint the original crossover, which is kind of cool. I think I might get the Alex Ross one if our shop has it, because that'd be nice to own. But the new one, I'm not even hyped for it, honestly. I really am not, because I would have preferred the kind of crossover that involved like a Captain America versus Deathstroke.
Yeah,
like that kind of example. I would have loved to have seen maybe even Spider-Man against Nightwing. That would have been cool.
What they could have done, which has been so easy, is if they wanted to, they could have had. Like with the hypothetical we had with the crossover between, the two battling each other, They could have they could have had so many ideas. You could have had the heroes versus the heroes. You could have had the villains versus the villains. You could have
Yeah,
had
yeah.
the one heroes versus the one villains, and vice versa. They could have had this been such a big thing, and they just completely wasted it.
Who is writing and drawing the Superman Spider-Man crossover? Do you know? Did they
I don't
announce
know
that?
off the top of my head.
Hold on, I'll look up right now, Justin. Superman, Spider-Man.
While he's looking it up, though, but like, yeah, it would have been, and that's the thing is like they focused all of their efforts for this new crossover on covers of what people wanted, and that's the thing. It's like you saw all these cool covers of all these different character mashups between the different heroes and villains, and it's like, ah, man, I wish we got that story, but we didn't.
Yeah.
It's just a cover, and it's never gonna happen. So,
Oh,
screw
man.
you for thinking that was gonna happen. It's just one of those things where I mean, to be fair, that brings up a whole is there issue of variant covers dominating everything, and how the variant covers of comic books are the only reason why they're selling, and that the variant covers are almost like false advertising to an extent where you go and pick it up and, oh, this isn't what it looks like on the inside, which was very jarring as a new comic book reader. Now I know better, but it's one of those things that I wish would change. I wish that we weren't so heavily relied on variant covers and instead use those resources to actually having stories written instead.
Stories. People forgot how to tell stories, and modern writers forgot how to tell good stories. I can't find who's writing and drawing the new one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Justin. That'd be interesting to find out who exactly is doing that. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, we could talk about this all night long if we wanted to, right? Yeah, it's just that
keep on talking, man. But overall, I guess as sort of like a wrap up, though, in terms of looking into the future, I am going to kind of start it off just this last week, where I'm going to start picking up a lot more books that I wouldn't necessarily pick up.
Oh,
and
okay.
see what is out there. Like I usually always just pick up what I want, and that's usually, and I'll look at, like I said, I'll look at the wall and see what happened. And you know this, like just last week I picked up the recent issue of Spawn and
Right. Yeah.
Hellboy. And that's something that I would never look at before. Like I kind of look at Spawn every now and again just to kind of flip through it and see, like, do I want to start reading it? But something, I don't know why, but it was just something about this last issue that really drew me. And I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, looks more interesting than other ones. And I think partially was because when I've always looked through the other Spawn issues in previous months, Spawn is hardly in it. And this one, it seems like he is actually in it and he actually is doing a lot of stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then the Hellboy one, it's written by Mike Mignola, but the artist that they got is like almost like dead on Mike Mignola artist.
That's right. That's right.
He is so close to his art that you could almost mistake it for original Mike Mignola. So I am looking forward to, and it's like a 2-issue miniseries, and that's it. So I'm like, okay, well, it's just 2 issues, so at least I can just pick up that and then that'll be it. But yeah, but anyway, back to what I was saying though. I'm going to pick up new stuff. I'm going to read new stuff and see what is out there. And as we'll always do, we'll do, is it worth the pickups and things of that nature. Try to do more reviews and stuff. But, yeah, I'm not going to stop collecting comic books. It's definitely something that's going to always be a part of my life now. I want to complete my collections. But
Nice.
I'm going to be definitely a lot more when I go to conventions and things, not so gun-ho into buying every single thing that catches my eye. I'm going to be a little bit more reserved into
Yeah.
what I actually want to collect, because one thing, space is an issue. The other thing,
Yeah.
price is an issue. And so it's going to be interesting this next year seeing how my collection and my collecting changes. What
Mm.
about you? Do you have anything that you are
My
looking
goal
forward
for
to?
2026 is to make money selling my comics.
Okay. Yeah,
That's pretty much
that's a
that's
good goal to
pretty much
have.
it. Yeah, is to make money selling my comics because I would like to do this as a living. I make no secret about it. The thing about indie creators is that the starving artist idea is I don't want to say it's fashionable, but it's something that just it's stuck with a lot of indie writers, creators like myself. Artists is one thing, but writers is another.
Yeah.
And there is a fine line, right, between arts and commerce. It's like it has to be a perfect balance of the two. And I
Yeah.
get it. There's if you have too much of art, then you lose a lot of the fans who probably otherwise will buy your book, but it's so out there, or it's so niche that you don't get the numbers you need to keep going and keep doing it, right?
Mhm.
And on the other side, if you're too commercial, then you're just doing something that's easy and I guess what's the word I'm looking for?
To
You're cashing in on the trend.
yeah.
And that's fine for the short term, but you're not going to grow your reader base because you only write in a certain way. So to find that balance is really hard to do. And so I liken myself to be like, I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist. I consider myself someone who takes the art form and the medium very serious. I personally believe it's the best medium to tell stories above movies and TV. And so my thing is like, well, how can I find that balance? And I think like for instance, I think Alan Moore had a good balance for a while there when he did Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And he did the I guess, for lack of a better term, the woke stuff for Swamp Thing, the environmentalist, messaging and all that stuff. But
Right.
the stories were so compelling that he had the everyday Joe Schmo who didn't really care about environmentalism still buy his book because the
Right.
stories were still so compelling that you couldn't help but notice it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm trying to get. I don't want to write like Alan Moore. I want to just find that balance. And I think James Cameron is another example in terms of films. He has a good balance of, maybe not so much now, but in the beginning of his career, right? Terminator, Aliens, Terminator 2, True Lies, big blockbuster movies, action movies, but it has substance. His story still has some substance, right? True Lies was about a married couple that was on the verge of divorce, right? So that was some substance there, right? Terminator 2 is the relationship between the son and the mother that's estranged.
Yeah. And the absentee father type of thing.
There you go. You go. And so that's where I'm at right now with it. And I want to get to the point where I do want the stories that I write to be commercially viable and promote, market, and write stories where people can digest it, readers can digest it and go, do you have any more? Because I want to read it again. And also on top of that, write stories where readers will want to read it again and again and again. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. You really have to grind to get those kind of stories out. And that's what 2026 is for me. That's the goal for me. 2026 is to write stories where I get people to come back. And this is one example here. Oh, first, before I go on, I want to answer Justin's question here. He says, do you think Bendis' style of storytelling ruined the generation of comic writers in that he was writing for the trades more than the floppies? Therefore, it took longer for things to happen. I would say yes and no. And what I mean by yes and no is that I'm a huge Brian Michael Bendis fan. Like I bought Powers, I bought his Daredevil run. What else did I buy of his? I didn't check out his Avengers stuff because at that point I was I'll admit I was a little over him at that point. because I loved his snappy dialogue. I thought his snappy dialogue was real. It was a breath of fresh air when he was new. However, as we all know, right, when the industry sees that something is selling, they have to repeat it, right? Copy and paste, copy and paste. So,
Yeah.
this guy's overwriting stuff. Well, we've got to hire writers who overwrite stuff too, because we want to make that money as well. Forgetting the fact that that's Brian Michael Bendis' MO. That's his style. You can't replicate that style. You got to find someone who has their own voice. And so, let's see.
I think there's a way. I think there's a way to do that though, where you can write it in a way that would be great as a trade, but also very satisfying as floppies, where you have a full story in it that has the overarching story that you'll go through the whole trade, but you'll still have the individual stories layered throughout that you'll be able to enjoy just as a standalone as well.
There you go.
So
Absolutely.
I think that there is a way to do it, and it's just something that, I do think you're right that there are a lot of writers right now that don't do that, don't have that aspect of having the individual stories. They just focus on the overarching one. But to tell you the truth, though, I have read some of those issues where they have the overarching one, and when you get to conclusion, it's still an awful story. So it's like,
it's not the slow burn that Alan Moore perfected in the 80s. Because Alan Moore, I think I believe to this very day that Alan Moore is the master of the slow burn, because he knew how to pace it. He knew how to he made you patient enough to wait for it. In other words, I don't know if you read Miracle Man, so you know what I'm talking about. The slow burn, right?
Yeah. But I still liked the issues leading up to it. Though.
Exactly. There you go. Because each issue had its own little sub story that still was compelling and captivating and interesting.
Yeah.
And kept you wanting to, and they also, and I like the fact that Alan Moore always reminding you too with a page or two, like, hey, remember this guy over here? He's still here. So just just remember him,
in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff. Jason says there are stories that have a slow burn but a big payoff. However, I think those kind of books when going in. Yeah, if you want that slow burn, as a writer, you really got to plan it out and make sure it's tight, or else you lose the reader if you do too much or too little. So you got to always figure out a way to pace yourself, and that's kind of what I did with this story here, Acid 13. Now, guys. This book is finally going to print. I released this book in digital and Global Comics because I was focused on Ghetto Dragon. I didn't want to do too much at once, but since Ghetto Dragon didn't do the numbers that I had hoped, that's one of the reasons why I stepped away for a while and kind of disappeared, because I had to, get back into it and figure out what I do wrong and disassemble. I gotta redo everything, and approach it differently. Which this is going to be part of my 2026 plan going forward. Black and white comics. Now, Acid 13 was not a creation of mine. It was a job that was offered, not offered. It was a gig that Chris Hicks, he's the creator of this story here, and he was looking for a writer to help him develop it. And I put my name in the hat. We had a little interview, and at the end of the day, amongst the 3 or 4 writers that reached out to him, he chose me because out of all of them, he said he told me I was the only one who was a big fan of John Carpenter, and that was key for this story. And so he pitched me the story. I loved it, and the only thing that was missing was the backstory of this character, Acid 13, because he wanted a monster. He wanted a slasher character. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to create like a Halloween character like Michael Myers, but not obviously his own. And so Acid 13, The Last Thanksgiving, is a story about a family that's kind of almost on the verge of falling apart, having Thanksgiving dinner, which might be the last time they have the dinner together. And unfortunate circumstances occur where this person, this monster, or this killer gets loose and finds them in their house and pretty much has Thanksgiving dinner with them.
Oh, man.
And he's all out of his mind. I don't want to give away what happens, but he's out of his mind. He holds them hostage.
Some people die.
Yeah, he holds him hostage, and so this story is pretty much a love letter to all the 80s slasher horror movies that came out. So it has a little bit of Michael Myers, has a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and a little bit of Friday the 13th, but with a fresh take. And again, I don't want to give that away because it's a major plot point in the story. But the other thing that I'm doing differently with this project is that I'm not crowdfunding this project. I'm not going to use Indiegogo or I'm not going to use Kickstarter to crowdfund this project. You know why? Because the book is complete. It's done. Wow. The book has been done. Yeah, it's done. It's done. So this is going to go up for print on demand. Right now, I've been working on getting the book ready for print. And this cover here is not the right one, but this particular print run is going to be only available from starting next Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which is right at the time Thanksgiving happens.
Yeah.
And from then on until maybe mid-January or the end of January, I'm going to pull it back out from the market because the print run that I'm going to offer you guys is going to have a 13-page preview of the next project that I'm working on after this. Is called Samuel Zion. Now, let me just pull it up here real quick for you guys real quick. Samuel Zion is a supernatural story about a man who is cursed with immortality. Now, of course, when you think of immortality, wow, I could live forever, but it's not the kind of immortality that it's the nice kind of immortality.
Yeah,
it's one of those
sunshine, rainbows, and
sparkles. No. In the beginning, well, I mean, just let me just hold that thought. But yeah, it's not the best kind of immortality at all. And so here it is, right? Samuel Zion. Now, Acid 13 is 44 pages. It's a complete story. One and done, and it's done. But I'm hoping that Acid 13 kind of hits because I do want to elaborate more on that character. And if you guys pick up the book and read the story, you guys will see what I'm talking about. You guys will know what I'm talking about. Because I have more stories planned out for Acid 13. So there's going to be more stories regarding that character. And Samuel Zion, the 13-page preview in that book, in that 44-page, is going to be about 14 pages. So once you finish Acid 13 last Thanksgiving, you're going to have the preview of Samuel Zion. And this one, I really do I'm hoping it becomes a series. Because this story, like I said, is a man who is cursed with immortality. He cannot die. He's tried it. It doesn't, and he does technically die, but he ends up in hell for like 7 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And then after 7 weeks, his soul gets transferred back to his body, which has decomposed.
Okay, that's a little.
And so he wakes up in his decomposed body, and he has to heal. And it takes it's a long, painful process of healing. And then once he heals, he has to continue on living his life. And the reason why he's cursed with immortality is because in ancient times, he was a common thief, and he entered a temple. I'm not going to give away the temple because it is a plot point, and I want you guys hopefully to read this series so you guys can see the outcome of it. But it's a temple. He accidentally knocks over a cabinet full of flasks that are full with evil entities. And the owner of this temple curses him to collect the entities and bring him back to the temple in order for him to be released from the material life that he has. And so he's been alive for thousands of years, and he's been avoiding it because he's like, well, great, I'm immortal. I'm going to do whatever I want. And then he discovers the hard way that, oh, wait a minute, I can still die and I can still feel pain. And on top of that, I'm brought back to life. I'm tortured in hell for 7 weeks, and then I'm sent back up to Earth, and I have to do it again. And so he avoids it. Yeah, all over again. He avoids it. He tries a few times, but then fails. And the starting point of this story here, this issue, Samuel Zion PI, is when he finally gets it all together, and he's going to finally hunt down the evil entities. But it's not going to be so easy because these evil entities have organized to create this defense mechanism that goes against him because they know the rule that he has. If he dies, he's stuck in hell for 7 weeks. So they have 7 weeks to rearrange and hide and move around, and he has to start all over again, essentially. So that's what Samuel Zion is all about. And again, 2026 is the year where I'm going to just promote black and white comic books. And I'm hoping that probably in February or March, I will do the pre-launch sometime next week for Samuel Zion. I actually want to do floppy issues for this one. I want to do 28 to 32 page stories, and hopefully do the goal for like 3K, 3K, 4K at the highest. So that way I could keep paying the artist Greg Warrenchak to continue drawing the book, because Greg, the artist of both Samuel Zion and Acid 13, is one of the most hardworking, industrious writers I've ever worked with as a writer, as an indie comic books writer. He just, say what you will about his style. I know his style won't be for everybody, but the one thing that I do appreciate is that he has a total understanding of sequential storytelling, which is key in telling, the stories that I want to tell. Definitely. And you guys will see firsthand if you guys do order and pick up Acid 13. It's not yet ready. Like I said, I'm getting the file. I'm still finishing up the files for them to be print. And on top of that, I want to get a sample first so I can look at it and see how it looks and if I need to fix anything. And then once I get that, then it's going to go live, and you'll be able to order it and get your copy within a week for print on demand. So there won't be no crowdfunding campaign, no waiting 2 or 3 months for it. Once it's ready to go, you'll just click on the link to the online store, purchase it, and boom, you get your copy. And that copy will just be the Acid 13 and the preview for Samuel Zion from now until the end of January. And then after January, I'm going to pull out Samuel Zion and just sell Acid 13 by itself going after that. So it'll be a collector's item. And again, not crowdfunded. You just buy it straight up. Black and white comic. Price point is going to be really accessible. I just haven't thought of a price yet. So once I'm ready for that price point, I'll announce it. But total, it's going to be 64 pages.
Wow.
Of a black and white book with, one full story and one preview story. And I hope you guys support and help me out here and make it happen for Elucid Comic, because down the line, I do want to, like I said, continue making Samuel Zion. I do want to make more Acid 13 stories, write them, I should say. And there's a lot of things that I have cooking in the background, and I will say this now so that way you guys can know right off the bat. And Samuel Zion and Acid 13 do share the same universe, so I do plan on, crossing their paths down the line.
Universe.
Yeah, absolutely. So there it is, guys. That earlier we were talking about indie comics and the competition between us and conglomerates. Here it is. Here's the creative spirit of indie comics. Now, obviously, Samuel Zion is a inspiration from Doctor Strange, John Constantine from Hellblazer. It's just that the twist, or not the twist, but the spin, the modern spin, is that it's a guy who doesn't want to be a hero. Like, he has no commitment to goodness, no aspirations to be one of the greats. He's just a guy who is tired of living. He wants to rest in peace, but he cannot until he collects these entities who have been around and alive for thousands of years. So he has no other choice but to take him out if he wants to finally rest in peace. And I'm going to show you another page here, and this is the full-on page of that background image that I have back there. What is the context? You'll have to find out if you pick up Acid 13. So,
all right, sounds good. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to both Asset 13 and Samuel Zeon. They're, like you said, it's one of those things where, yeah, the superheroes, they're great and all, but I think sometimes you just need to have some other stories come along.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I have a superhero story that I'm developing now because I love genre. I still love it. It's just that the cape stuff is it's really overdone at this point, and it's time to do something a little different. It's time to really think outside the box and really showcase that yes, here in America, we still have the creative spirit within us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
America. Yeah. Not to get nationalistic on you. It's just that it's just that manga
come in and fly in.
Yes. It's just that manga has been kicking our asses for the past few years, and there's a reason for it. It's because their stories are so solid and compelling that's why the new readers are gravitating towards manga, because that's what people like. They like compelling stories. And so Samuel Zeon took me about, in all honesty, it took me about 3 years to develop. So there's a lot of effort and a lot of heart that went into this. So it's not just something that I came up with last week. I'm just going to follow this. No, this is something of substance. And trust me, it's not just a story about a demon hunter. It's a redemption arc story, essentially. Once you start to know who Samuel Zeon is, you're going to start to see, I know I kind of like this guy, but he's kind of a jerk, And so, but as the story progresses, you're going to start to see just how he changes with every story arc. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, if you guys are looking forward to it, that barcode in the corner up there, scan it and join the Substack for the latest news, because I'm going to release this next week. I'm hoping for Wednesday. So this weekend, I'm going to work really hard to get the print, files ready, and then do a proof copy so that we can look at the quality and see how it looks. And then once I'm happy with it, off to the races we go.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be one fun, book. A couple books that are coming out.
Yeah, and I'll give you a advanced copy of the PDF, Kyle, so you can check it out and let me know what you think.
Well, I would hope so, since I'm
and then we could do it. It's worth the pickup, with the Asset 13, so that way you could give me your honest opinion. And again, Asset 13 wasn't my idea; it was Chris Hicks, and he's the one. He was gracious enough to hand it over to me and let me take it. So, thank you, Mr. Hicks, for that. So, yeah, that's pretty much what Elusive Comic is looking forward to, or if Julius Freeman, I should say. I don't want to talk about myself in the third person, but that's that's my goal for 2026 is to write compelling stories that get you to come back and want to read more. And remember, I still have Ghetto Dragon. I still have that in the works. It's just that this one is more viable and hopefully more accessible price-wise, because I know the economy is really tough right now. People are holding on to their money a little tighter this time around.
Yeah, they're tightening their belts.
Yeah, and so I'm just thinking, like, okay, if that's what's going on, I have to revert back to black and white comics, because that's the cheapest option for me as a producer of comics to get stuff out there faster and more accessible price-wise. So hopefully you guys will join me on that venture. And so stick around with that, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel for also updates and more shows. Again, 2025 is coming to a close. This is the last show of the year because we're going to be so busy this December that we won't be able to have any time to do the show. So this will be the last one until January.
Not saying that we don't want to. We love coming here. We love talking with you. And that's the thing that we want to always get across every single episode, is that we love talking to every single one of you. We love building this community. We want to continue it. We have no plans of stopping. Don't worry about that. You're not gonna get rid of us that easily.
Yeah.
We
Right.
we want to have fun here, it's gonna be, and that's the main thing that we love to do, is just to have fun, talk comics, talk about what we enjoy about these fun nerdy things,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
what we like to do.
Yeah.
And it's and there's a lot of you guys out there, and we love, and it's just so much fun to get to know you and meet you, and sometimes even meet you in person, and to see you and talk to you. And if we can't meet you in person, definitely come check us out here on the channel. Comment, comment. We always try our best to always talk to you through the comments, and have you be a part of the show as well. That's another thing too. It's like a lot of these other shows and Instagram reels and all these things that you see, you're just another faceless name in the crowd. Here, you're somebody. You're part of the conversation. Whatever you say, we're your conduit of wanting to say it. And that's what we want to try to build on. And I think we're going to try very hard next year to really kick things going, get some more videos out there, get some more reviews
Mhm.
out there, really build this up, because we want a really nice community here. And I think we're trying very hard to build that. And like I said, just have fun. And so it's going to be good. Don't worry about it. We're here to stay.
Well said.
And
Well
and
said.
as I always say too, every interaction is a new experience, and you must build those experiences.
There you go. And yeah,
Can't forget
remember
about my tagline.
yeah, yeah. And remember the show is called Let's Talk About It. And the idea is to discuss things. And even though they may be uncomfortable, the idea is to get it out there. Let's talk. Let's talk like men, like adults, and put it out there. Don't take things so personal. Just hash it out so that way we can get to the source of whatever it is that may be either an issue or even something that's popular and interesting.
Yeah.
It's always great to just dialogue and get to know the person that you're talking to. We have guests here that come on the show and they join us on the topics at hand, or we interview them. And it's always, for me, it's always a fascinating thing to get to know another writer who's trying to get their name out there as well. And I've always been very appreciative of the people who come here and actually talk about their projects. I know sometimes some creators have even sat down in the hot seat for is worth the pickup, and that's always appreciated, because that's the one thing that I think I believe anyway, that a lot of indie writers can't handle, and that's criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And how else can you grow if you can't take criticism, especially constructive criticism? I understand there's levels to it. If someone's being a jerk, then of course, yeah, you write them off.
Yeah.
But if someone is actually coming to you saying, well, page 4 and through 6, it was a mess, and here's why, it's going to burn, it's going to hurt, it's going to sting, but you listen to it.
I say, like, well, here's what you could have done, or here's
Exactly.
what you can
Exactly.
work on. And that's what we like to get across when we do the Is It Worth the Pickups, is it's not it's bad because it's bad, or it's good because it's good. We want to actually dive deep into what these books are, because we like them and we love them, and we want to make sure that they're the best that they possibly can be.
Absolutely. And given the fact that time is needed to read the books and money is needed to buy them, hey, like I said earlier, the economy is bad, so why not let you guys know, hey, don't buy this book, it's not worth it. Or, hey, you know what, this is worth your money, you should get this book because it deserves your attention. And that's the kind of community we want to build here, is a healthy dose of criticism. Yeah. Not just crapping on everything just for the sake of it, but crap on it because it deserves it. Like that's I think that's 100% fair, and so if you can't take that, you're in the wrong business. That's just the way
nobody's immune to it. Even Julius himself, we've reviewed his books, and I've said on record, some of the stuff he did, not good.
It was reset protocol.
Well, we have to get. I was gonna be nice and not say anything, but you said it, so
Hey, I gotta keep it real, man. I gotta keep it real. And that was the whole point, is that if I can stay on the hot seat, you should be able to as well. But you don't have to. It's just that if I invite you on and you say no, cool. But if you say yes, you can't get mad at me because you agreed to it. And that's the whole thing with not just comics, but art in general. It's subjective. Not everyone's gonna like it. Not everyone's gonna dig it. Not everyone's gonna understand it even. And that's okay too, because maybe they might have a perspective that you didn't even look at, and you might be like, oh, I never saw it that way. I never thought of it like that.
That's how we first started this channel to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Was, we wanted to have the perspectives of as a reader, consumer, just with fresh eyes, wanting to read the comic books, and Julius as the experienced, hardened, went through the trudges of all the comic book knowledge and stuff.
Yeah.
And also the writer art, perspective. With both of us, we're like, almost like Captain Planet. We know what unite, and then we become the best.
Justin is a fan of yours, Kyle, for bashing the comics.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I am fair in my criticism. I try to be, at least. And, I got to be honest, some things aren't good, and I'm going to point them out. So, but when it's good, it's good. So that way you'll know. If it's good, it's good. But if it's bad, and the great thing, too, about that is that if Kyle does say something is good and you pick it up and you go like, wait, what the hell? This is not good at all. Then then that even makes even a better conversation, because then you come on the show if you like and challenge his points, and then maybe try to change his mind. Definitely. I am again, we're not the end all be all of the comic book perception of everything. I have very rose tinted goggles for, different things, especially like Green Lantern and things, because he is my favorite hero. But just because of that, I can get stuff wrong, and I admit to that. But so far, nobody's come on and disagreed with me. So, I'm just going to say what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. That's the end of the show, everyone. And thank you again for showing up to the show. I know it's been a while that we've been on. And so I know, again, like I said earlier, when you're gone for long, people tend to forget about you, and that's just the way it is. So again, I just want to let everyone know to have a safe and happy Thanksgiving dinner. Hopefully you guys have families you guys can visit and hang out with, and spend time and build those experiences with them as well. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas, where you guys again get to hang out with your family and loved ones. And hopefully come January, the world hasn't gone to the dogs.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. So with that said, guys, have a great weekend, have a great holiday, and we'll see you in January. Peace.
Bye, guys.
On November 27th, 1997, citizens from a small Midwestern town called Carpenter's Bay were shocked to discover that one of their own brutally massacred his family, as well as ending his own life on Thanksgiving Day. Dubbed the Thanksgiving Day Massacre, this horrendous crime would forever tarnish the good name of this peaceful town. However, underneath this story lies a dark secret. A secret involving a government cover-up to hide the real story of what happened that fateful day. As the old saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. Asset 13, The Last Thanksgiving, written by Julius Freeman, art by Greg Warrenchak, available on Global Comics. Evil has a new holiday.